Do you read The New Idea?
No. I have to confess I do not read The New Idea. Actually, but I did buy it, like in 1982 or something because there was an article about Madonna in it. And I just, I was so in love with Madonna. But no.
Okay.
In short,
the short
no.
answer is no.
No.
Well, look, there's the odd contestant on My Kitchen Rules.
Mm-hmm.
That's gay. And it's never a big deal. Quite like the way they deal with it. But The New Idea has picked up a story about a former contestant called Luke Hines, who he's recently come out. He's revealing his lover, Tyrone. There's no E at the end.
Oh,
Tyrone.
Oh.
Anyway,
so it's almost like Tyrion.
But he's much taller.
Sorry.
Anyway, his last name is Lawless. They met 6 months ago at a business lunch where it was attraction at first sight.
Oh.
I mean, all of that's nice. Gay love, happy, happy, joy, joy. My problem is this. As we scroll down the media item, there's a picture of them looking deliciously camp and very happy. And the tagline is, "Meet my gay lover." And I think, irresponsible New Idea. It's just a man falling in love with a man. They've partnered.
Yeah.
Really? I mean, if it's two blokes sitting there talking about being in love, do you have to say gay?
Yeah, they do.
Do you have to say lover?
They do. Actually, my mother talks about this lover word, because lover, it still has that certain bit of cheapness or something about it. It's not, there's nothing concrete, say, oh, my lover. Well, it's like, well, I'm doing this one now and tomorrow I could be doing another one.
Of lovers.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And I've been known to.
That's another show.
That's another show, different time slot.
Serena opens up in many ways. But I think that, look, I was actually watching Channel 10 News because I do this thing at night. If I'm at home, I'll watch the 4:30 news and I watch just to see the lead-in story. That's what it's all about for me. Anyway, and then I go to the ABC and breathe a sigh of relief because I think, here's the news. But I was watching, one of the other networks and they were describing Madonna. And, of course, they say, the material girl.
She was the material girl 30 years ago.
But it's this thing about it's wrong for a woman to make shitloads of money, be incredibly successful, to fall over, pick herself up, talk about, all that stuff. Australian media always puts in that little bit of saccharine, I think you'd call it.
It's the tall poppy stuff.
Yeah,
do you know
exactly.
What I mean? And I think we're past the point now where, gay media can't fall back on, we didn't really know how to phrase it. Those days are long gone. So, we've got gay people in Parliament. We've got, the odd gay person on TV, loads of them on TV, very few out. And I don't think this is good enough because a friend of mine put it up on Facebook and he's a journo for The Age and he said, obviously, whenever I introduce my partner, I introduce him as my gay lover. And I just know everybody is kind of recoiling at the idea of this sort of reporting. It's terrible. It's sort of gutter journalism.
Yeah. And the other thing is, there's a photo of two guys. You've established, anybody who has read the story know that Luke and Tyrone are in a relationship. Why not just put on that photo, Luke and Tyrone in the Botanical Gardens enjoying a cup of tea? That's all you need.
Yeah.
You don't even need
Luke
a cup
and
of tea.
Tyrone together and happy.
Yeah. That's all you need. The rest of it, it's just a put down. And honestly, the thing, when I heard that about Madonna, I said, for God's sake, Luke and Tyrone, gay lovers, my gay lover. Well, I mean, if it's two men standing there, obviously they're gay lovers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They're kind of all over each other. So, that's a bit of a clue. But it feels like our relationships, when they're framed in these sorts of terms, that our relationships mean less. And I think that if we come back to the whole idea about equality, which is a drum that most people are banging in the community for varying reasons. And I'm not going to put marriage in the equation here. If we were equal citizens, this sort of language would become extinct. Because we are less than, people still struggle with the way they want to describe what we have, when in fact it's no different to our heterosexual brothers and sisters. Love is love, right?
Do you think it would become extinct? Because let's go back in time to Julia Gillard, who, a woman, a successful woman, an intelligent woman. She led the country for a very short period of time. Remember every time you opened a newspaper and there was an article about Julia there. Julia, 52-year-old
barren,
non-religious. What's the word?
Atheist.
Atheist. You know, there was always that description of her before you actually got to the article. Or you know, today, you know, Julia Gillard turns up to Parliament, 50-year-old woman in a pink scarf. You know, and I think we suffer it because of our sexuality. Because of our sexuality, but Australian media has a lot to learn about how to write an article without adding these bits of
These
sarcasm.
Terms.
Yeah,
it's so flowery and patronising.
And it's sarcastic. I find it incredibly sarcastic. Oh, you know, Madonna, the material girl. Okay, so she's made a lot of money. Why couldn't they just say, oh, Madonna, you know, famous singer around the world, or you know, whatever? But you know, oh, material, and you know, the inflection in the voices. But pardon me. One of the funniest things I ever saw on the news was Sandra Sully. And I think it was in Adelaide, and this poor woman, newsreader, and she's a very bright woman and very attractive woman, and she had to read out, and in Adelaide today, I don't know, a crowd of marauding sharks, and you could just see the look on her face like, I can't believe that I've had to say that. Yeah. So even sharks come into this equation, you know, and it's so wrong, it's boring. I think they'd probably sell more papers, more magazines if they just wrote the article without this horrible stuff.
But this is their reason for being.
Well, yeah, it is, and I think they're.
And I wonder if maybe the New Idea they're not doing anything that they don't always do. They're behaving according to type. But I don't know, man. I think that you know everything that comes up in language and the bigger battles we fight on the equality front. All of that is dampened down by this sort of stuff. It's shitty journalism. It's really
bad.
shitty. And I would love to know how Luke and Tyron feel about it. Wouldn't that be interesting?
That would be interesting.
I wonder if they'll, you know, and
yeah.
You see, I pulled this article that's ripped from New Idea from one of the gay publications, and they're not picking up on the problems with the language.
And, you know, look, working in gay media, and I think any media is a weird animal. I think it really is. And I remember working in gay media, and we were not allowed to comment on any issues, especially issues based around any venues, you know, look, I can't think of any other examples. But anyway, you couldn't commentate because, point one, if you said, for example, a venue, there was an example actually, a venue would not let a man in his wheelchair. And, you know, that hit the press. So the minute that hit the press, that venue stopped advertising with the paper. Now, that account was probably worth about $5,000 a month. When you're in a community, that $5,000 is like, you know, $50,000 a month. And I think that media just operates like that now anyway. And I mean, there's no excuse for this. I mean, okay, who are they? They might offend MKR or something. You know what I mean? It's sort of.
But they're not. This guy.
Excuse me.
This guy isn't even a contestant anymore. So what's the big deal? He said that hiding it is just exhausting. You should live your truth. Yeah, that's nice. They're totally committed to each other, and you know, they're happy, and I think we should. You know, we should certainly celebrate their happiness. But again, it's this male skew in the media, and it's almost like there's a male skew in the reporting, and then the response is to frame it within misogyny, and within all of that, there's no female voice. It's we've talked about this before. There's no female voice in the media for gay women.
No. And I think you'll find that in a couple of weeks that our Luke may be launching a new product or something like. Yeah, I think so.
Right.
You know.
Well, you said that tonight on the 3rd of March.
3rd of March. Let's watch and see what
right.
young Luke gets up to. Because, you know, this is all, you know, marketing rules everything these days. You know, you don't do anything. You know, we market ourselves even on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So, and I think that this article, they probably haven't run a gay story since Magda, perhaps, or because remember when Magda came out, it was like, oh yeah, we all know.
Well, it was hardly news in our community.
Oh God, no. And anyway, but yeah, and I just think, you know, this would be marketing. I think they probably haven't run a story for a while. MKR, it's a little bit of, you know, sublime.
Little bit of juice to the MKR.
Yeah.
MKR kind of, you know, bandwagon at the moment because they're filming. Well, they're not filming. They're airing right now. So. Big yawn.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's track this story and You reckon a couple of weeks?
I reckon a couple of weeks we'll find that young Luke has been up to something, or, you know, his partner might strangle him in the Valiant or something. I don't know. But yeah, I'm positive. I'll bet my bottom dollar that there's a flow through from that story to do with our Luke.
Watch this space.